Join us. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on the agenda is approve the minutes from Monday meeting.
I'll second.
Bob moves, Don seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. And then we'll approve the minutes.
What's up? I'm abstaining, sorry. I wasn't here that Monday.
Oh,
I'll abstain.
okay.
Technically, you probably can't move then either,
Yeah.
although I'm not
I won't-
sure the
I
rules
won't
on it.
move.
Also move,
Don moves for Monday
All
minutes.
second.
Tim seconds, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. With Bob not.
401.
Four. Now we'll, approve the minutes of Wednesday, January 26th.
I will move on now.
Bob moves,
All second.
Tim second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll go to miscellaneous motions. Move to authorize director chairman to sign 3 tax abatements in the total of $1,746.08.
46 or 45?
46.
Okay,
On the green sheet's 46
okay,
anyway.
that's right.
I'll make the motion.
Tim moves,
I'll second.
Don seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's it, at the moment, right? I guess Joe, is Joe here?
Joe's not here.
Joe not here yet?
I talked to him there about 4:00 and he said he'd be here, so.
Okay, he's got a couple of minutes.
He told me, asked me to remind him, so.
We got a couple of minutes.
Here he is.
No, that's
He
good.
just went on by there.
Huh?
He just went by.
Aye.
Joe? Yeah.
Glanced up right quick.
Angie, will we make sure Brad's gonna be present for the 9:20,
Mm-hmm.
please? Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
We're ready for you, sir, if you're ready.
Well, I'm never ready or not.
If you would like, come on up to the podium and we will, listen to the access on Homestead.
Oh.
You may begin.
Pardon?
You may begin.
Well, I guess you want to talk about opening the road up.
Well, there was, some visiting about that last week, on what to do with Wayne Blackburn.
Yeah.
And, we understood that you had some thoughts or concerns, maybe.
Well, I know there's been a road there ever since the beginning of time, I guess. Used to be the main road, the bottom road to Leroy, and I don't know why we can't still have a road there.
Right, right.
That's just the aerial photo of Oxen Lane, the road we're discussing,
Right.
and so, gotta get, morning, Joe.
Have you seen this, Joe?
I don't know if you've seen that one or not.
The yellow thin line is the discussed option.
That, and the yellow line is just, one is, that's where the old power line used to be,
And then the other is just being able to move the road away from the embankment of the Neosho River. It's really what we're at, and that's the reason why the road's closed, is because the embankment has continued to encroach upon the road edge, making it unsafe. So,
How far back do you think we have to move it?
well, for the most part, you have to be a minimum of 5 feet from basically a hazard, and that's where you're at right now. We're right about 5 feet from the edge at this point. And so it's been that way for a little while, but then also too, as the Neosho River continues to encroach, then you're going to find yourself in a situation as you're trying to maintain an open road. You also have to maintain safety. So either one, guardrail starting to be placed, or you move the road. And so once you start putting guardrail up, you also have the responsibility to maintain guardrail. So it's just not a matter of the cost of putting up old guardrail that we have around. It's also, too, is basically maintaining the guardrails.
Well, let me rephrase my question. How far back do you want to move it?
Well, we haven't measured that exact, Bob, but there is some measurements out there. There's a power pole that they had just moved. Those power poles that's just on the east side of the road right now is what you would want to do is actually place the road on the east of those power poles. So to answer that question, roughly maybe 20, 30 feet is how far east you'd kind of be. So you'd be on the east side of the power poles, and then you'd be going through. So some of these, Joe, I just took some pictures here the other day, but this is the road looking south. Okay, so I want to just pass that one around. That's Oxen Lane looking south. This is the road right there at those barricades, pretty close to where we were visiting the other day, here last Sunday, I believe it was. And so that's the road there. This one's the power pole that they had set because your old power line, for whatever reason, well, one is their power pole. They didn't want that power pole to fall off the embankment, which was on the east side of the road at that point, or the west side of the road at that point. And so they moved the power pole on the east side, so they saw the hazard as well. And so here last spring, they moved the power poles because you still wanted to maintain electricity out there. So that's the power pole I'm making reference to. This is about 2 years ago, the embankment that we saw that basically needed to move that power pole. And so that's the embankment, and then that's the repair that we had done. So the reason why they moved the power pole, you can see basically what was going on with the embankment, and that's what's encroaching on the road. And so now what we had done is we placed basically that material out there. So we placed riprap and fixed that, but also noting too that that is the encroachment area. This is some of the items that you have out on your property. So that would be the area in which basically the road would be moving to, is on the east side.
You wouldn't need the road to go down and see there.
So, hey, Wayne, I got a question.
Yeah.
What's on top of my mind?
Okay.
I mean, I know it's probably on a property owner to get a state permit to put materials there to keep that from eroding. I know several people along the river have state permits to dump old concrete or block or whatever. I mean, I know that's quite a hole. I've seen it. It's big. It'd take a while. But I mean, is there something where, I mean, you've already placed some materials there, so is that done permitted wise or just?
Well, as far as the, what you're making reference to is like where private landowners would have their property, they're wanting to minimize the erosion and different things like that. So what they have to do is make a permit or application.
I understand that.
Yeah, but I'm just for the public.
My question is, I mean, does Joe need to do that, or is that something we can do as a county and start adding materials there? I mean, we've already done this. I'm assuming this is done by us.
We've done that, yes, for the maintenance to maintain our road, which we have the authority to do.
Okay.
But the other side of it is we are limited on what we can put down. You can't put down concrete with rebar in it.
Right.
And so
I know there's stipulations, but all
yeah.
I'm asking is, can we apply for that permit even though it is
It'd probably be some type of joint permit, because there's gonna be some of it's gonna be our road, then there's gonna be some of it's gonna be private property that's still encroaching
And I
on.
know that's quite a hole, is it, like,
I talked to Wayne about
needle in a
that.
haystack type thing?
Mm-hmm.
I talked to
Yeah.
Wayne about that here 2 or 3 days ago. You know, rip-rapping that along there to stabilize that bank, but from that one, tin whistle that comes in from the east, you'd have to rip-rap that probably for a couple of 100 feet. You know, it's a straight shot
A lot of
there.
material.
There just isn't anything on that bare bank.
Yeah.
Bare bank. We're kind of fortunate that that is a straight shot there on the river for about 400 or 500 feet. You know, it doesn't get into the curve until south of where Joe's homestead is, and that's where the curve's at. That's where it's doing most of the eating.
Right.
But to rip-rap that up there, and it's not gonna eat it away like it would if it was on a curve, but it's gradually gonna eat it away, 'cause the river's up and down. But my thought, you know, to help Joe to continue to give him access to it, and to control costs for us, to work for both of us, is just move it east to that power pole, maybe 20, 30, you know, move it 30 feet or so. You could start there where those north trees are, start where the north trees are on the east side. You wouldn't basically lose any agricultural land at all. Maybe a fifth of an acre, less than a half acre, and move out there only about 20 feet and go straight south, you know, probably a couple 100 feet, and come back in. Would probably take care of things for 15 or 20 years. Because it's on a cut bank, but it's a straight bank.
Yeah, I realize that part, but I guess in conjunction with moving the road, could we
Maybe.
get a permit and be working on saving we're having to move it again here in the next 50 years?
And that, you know, jumps right back, and I think Joe and I had that, conversation as well. I see 3 options, of what you have here. Is one, you keep it open, and you keep it open to the same standard that we have all the rest of the county roads open to. And to do that, you would have to move the road or stabilize that embankment, but I don't think we can stabilize that embankment efficiently as far as cost for the amount of embankment that we'd have to stabilize versus moving a road, which could be 20, 30 feet. But you're still looking at probably $20,000 to $30,000 invested into that to keep it as an open road. The other one is, we talked about too, is to say that you would make this a minimum maintenance road in between the area there, and we talked about that one. That was one option. And then that way you don't have to move the road at all. You just basically show the hazard. Minimum maintenance road still allows full access all the way through for the general public. That's option 2. But it has to go through the planning department, it has to go through a public hearing, and all that's not something you can just automatically make a motion towards to achieve. Then the third option would be to close that section that he owns the property on both sides, and then if you close that section, then he can put a gate there, and he can go through it as he wishes, but it would basically only allow access from the north and allow access from the south to that point in which the road is closed. That's the option 3. The 2 options I had would be minimum cost. First option, to keep it open, is going to be your 20 to 30, just kind of off the cuff cost. Where these roads were open, Joe's right, it was the latter part of 1800 that this road was opened. It was developed on the north going into that property, and then the south part was no more than a dirt road for a long period of time. And then about the 70s or so, then that was gravelled and improved. Planter Road was also open in the late 1800s, but then it was closed, it was vacated, and then it was opened back up in the 1900s, about probably the 70s or so. I don't have the exact dates on it. And then it was improved to what we see today, and that is, right here. That's the road that we see. Here we go, Joe. I don't want to not show you. But it's totally open, no trees, no, other than just farm ground, and that's the road that's just a half mile over.
Half mile east.
Yes, and that's Planter Road, so we'll put that back on that one, but unless you had questions there. So I saw the 3 options, and so for Joe to come up to say, now, one of the options is if Joe keeps a mailbox out there, which is this one here, if he keeps mail service, basically I cannot make it a minimum maintenance road. And as far as closing it, it still goes back to him. He can make application as a landowner on both sides through the clerk's office for closing a road. It's something that you would do. You'd have a hearing, you would have a appraisal, review of the road closure and all of those things. And Bob's went through a couple of those, but that's what you'd have. But the roads to the north and south of those locations where we have our barricades, that's a road to the south of it, looking back north. And
So, Joe, do you still get mail at this location? You do?
So
you want to keep it open, Joe?
Hmm?
You want to keep that open?
Well, it kinda helps me have my property there, yeah.
And you live at that location,
Part-time.
part-time?
this is just some of the items that's on the property. So,
You're not gonna bother them, are you?
until we get the, basically a layout, I mean, if the decision is to just go ahead and invest that money and move it over a little bit, I imagine we would minimize how much we disturb. There still would be some material out there.
Joe, are you on the Leroy address there?
Yeah,
They come in from the south,
yeah.
and they turn around and go back out south? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so they turn around at your mailbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be that just shows the landowners on that one.
If we made that
This would be
minimum maintenance, it would not have to be minimum maintenance from the south to his mailbox.
No, you can make it,
The minimum maintenance would just be a small stretch in between.
you could do that. It would go through a hearing, but yes, you could do that.
And that wouldn't,
Would you be in favor of moving the road, Joe? Over?
Yeah, 20 foot or so. 30, whatever.
the only thing, if we move it east, Joe, we're gonna be going right through your barnyard, right?
Well, not you just go 20 or 30 feet, no,
We wouldn't?
no.
I think it would miss the buildings. I didn't,
Oh, yeah.
of course, didn't measure anything, but I think 20, 30 feet would miss the buildings, Bob. Might, there'd be some used equipment there.
Yeah.
Used equipment would have to be moved down the road.
And then there'd be some trees and such
There'd be
as
some
that.
trees that have to be
And,
moved.
the equipment and all of that right now, the implements are in the area, so it'd be up to Joe to move the equipment prior to us bulldozing the trees down, excavating the trees down, that sort of thing. But there would be a little bit of that. This is just an aerial photo again, kind of the same one. So, yeah, that would be the three options, is decide what you guys wanna do.
I'd be in favor of moving the road if that's what Joe wants.
If it's okay with Joe, I have no problem with that either. I mean,
No,
we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
I think we've got a responsibility to keep it open for a homestead, especially when he's occasionally out there and, the mail's delivered there. Maybe not every day, but the mail's delivered there, so I think moving it over 20 or 30 feet, whatever can be worked out, the cost would be somewhat controlled and would last many years, since it's on a straight, as you can see, it's all on a straight shot there. It's not gonna cut it out in
Right.
over 5 or 6 years, but.
Be 100-year fix, maybe, 50-year fix.
Yeah. And basically not lose any production ground, other than just, 20 feet off that
None of
one
us
field.
ever know when it has to be done again.
Well, if you do a permit to get some debris tossed in there as you're going along, it would help immensely.
Wouldn't hurt a bit. Be a good place to get rid of it and benefit at the same time.
Yeah.
Something like that would work for you, Joe?
I think so.
It wouldn't destroy any of your buildings, I don't think. Just have to move some equipment out of the road, move it over 20 or 30 feet, whatever.
There'd be a little right of way.
That would control the cost.
a purchase on that too. There would be just a little right of way on that one too, Don.
Yeah.
And I think right now, somewhere around $1,800 per acre is what,
But you probably wouldn't take
What we're
over a half
paying.
acre moving over 20
it wouldn't be
feet.
much.
20 feet, 600 feet, you know, it's 12,000 square feet, you're not, you know, half an acre or less.
Full set of plans, then you'd have a legal description for some right of way, and if Joe's agreeable to that, that'd be part of the process, and we'd pay according to what you guys have set up for policy.
Wayne, would it be cheaper to come into the tillable ground and not have to move the trees and deal with all the stuff inside I mean, you're still gonna have to go through some trees, but would it be better to come around the edge of the trees into the farm ground and make the road? Would it be?
Well, if we're moving the road east, what we'd do is just minimize how much we move it, and just go on the other side of the road. We'd have to look at the power poles. There might be a little going underneath the power lines, now since the power poles are on the east side of the
I think they're
road.
high enough where equipment wouldn't be an issue.
They should be, yeah. So, it'd be just a matter of that.
Well, I was thinking basically what Jesse just said, but I didn't say it because I know it'd have to go out farther.
It might be a
But
little
it
longer of a
wouldn't,
road.
it wouldn't be splitting your property, your
Right.
homestead and your
Field.
barnyard. It wouldn't be splitting them, it'd put them all on the same side.
And it would move the
of
road
the
back
road.
further.
You mean move the road to the west side?
No,
No.
east side.
To the east side along the field.
Well, then he's still split. Oh,
Along the outside of his barnyard and
Yeah.
the trees.
oh, the field itself.
Yeah, that way you wouldn't have to be pushing trees out of the way, and you'd just be working with soil instead of your trees and.
You're reaching out totally east of the.
So you'd be on the farm
you're
ground
talking
per
about moving
se.
a long ways out there,
That's quite a little.
probably a
ways.
couple hundred feet.
Yeah, no, that, the length onto it would be considerable.
Yeah. I
But
just didn't know
it
if
can
it'd
be done, we
I
never
just-
looked at it that
I
way.
just didn't know if it'd be cost effective to go that route without pushing his trees and splitting his barnyard area.
Yeah.
You know, if that might be better for him to sacrifice a little of the field
Yeah,
versus the barnyard part, and plus you don't have to mess with the trees.
it's possible, we never looked at it that way. It's possible. You just basically acquire about 60 foot of right of way, go along that edge, develop the curves that would accommodate it.
And that's gonna push it back any further where none of us is gonna have to worry about the river
Oh, absolutely.
for years and years.
And he can leave his stuff where he wants it, or where he has
It
it.
wouldn't move any equipment or anything.
And I
Right.
realize he has a road going through it now, but by us moving it over, we're getting pretty close to his buildings.
Right.
And that makes his buildings, his house and everything on one side of the road.
That's not a bad idea,
Traffic-
Joe would go with
Traffic
it.
goes, they're not going through him.
Right. Right.
Would you go with that, Joe, doing something like that?
Well, I just seen you taking my farm ground.
I mean, you've got a piece of property there, Joe. If you happen to ever sell the homestead property, at least there's not gonna be a road going through the barnyard. If you put it on the east side of the trees, then you'd have a decent piece of property there if you should ever sell it.
You have a road right through the middle of your farm.
Exactly. It'd be on the edge of the farm ground and the edge of your homestead.
Is that something we could let Wayne and Joe discuss and work it out between the two?
Sure. I mean, just look at the best option. I know I would much rather have
I
the
think-
road east of my farmstead, not splitting through the barnyard, you know, where it's just minimal amount of farm ground gonna be
You
used.
put it there at 20 or 30 feet, you ain't going through the middle of the barnyard, you're just gonna go on,
On the edge of it.
yeah.
And there's quite a few trees, I agree with what he's saying too.
Most
You
of them,
already took out quite a few
most of them are
trees
pretty small
for
trees, wouldn't it?
the REA.
Joe, do you wanna get with Wayne and you guys hash over what we discussed, all the options we discussed, and see what you guys come up with and come back with and do?
So the options right now would be, one is move the road just to the east, about 20 feet or so. Or option two would be to move the road along the crop line and not do anything more in your homestead area. So that would be the decision. You tell me which way you want to go, and we can discuss it at a point in which you'd like to. keep moving forward on that one. That'd be fine, and we can bring something back. I'll let you know kind of which way you want to go.
Well, I mean, I would want him to make sure,
That's what he wants.
yeah, that's what he wants, you know.
And what he
If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it once.
Yeah.
You know, and if we move it on to the east a little more, we're never gonna have to worry about it again, ever.
No, you wouldn't. Especially on the crop line, you wouldn't have to worry about that quite some time. And it would be acquiring more right of way at that point, I mean, that's, but our cost too is we'll make it up because there won't be as much time,
Right.
in the homestead area. So, it has some benefits.
Sounds like there's a plus whichever way you decide to go, Joe.
Yeah.
We're here to work with you, we wanna make it work, so you got good access to your farmstead, Joe.
You don't gotta make a decision today, Joe. You don't gotta make a decision today, it just, something that's gonna be work in progress.
Wayne, you got these back.
You guys will get together and work on this and see determine what you think's the best option, because we'll need to do something, whatever it is. But when we do it, we wanna do it once, and we wanna do it right,
For both parties.
for everybody involved.
So, Joe, we wanna get together maybe the latter part of the week and give you a call,
I don't care.
if that would work?
Thanks for coming in, Joe, we appreciate
You
it.
know what I want, if you don't wanna do it, well, yes, you don't wanna do it.
Well, no, I don't think that's the case, Joe. I mean, we're just throwing other options out there.
Yeah, let's do the farm.
If you want it through your barnyard, we'll put it through the barnyard if that's what you want.
Like I said, 20 or 30 foot each them poles.
If that's what you wanna do,
I told you that on the beginning time, come in here, I think I told you that. You
Okay.
keep coming-
well, this is the first time I've heard of it,
Do, other ways.
but, no, we just wanted to make sure all options were looked at.
Work with him on
We'll get Wayne.
moving
work
it 20 or
with
30 feet, and we'll do it.
Got it.
Sounds like
Well,
that's where,
work with him.
sounds
You
like
got
that's
it.
where you'd like to have it.
Some Old cement or rocks and stuff along that bank place. They've done that in the past.
Well, times have changed a lot too since things like that have happened, and the water people don't like that to be done anymore, so, unfortunately. Higher up than us.
Kansas Water Resources controls.
Yeah, they control that water. What can be done there, so,
Yeah, you have permit to do it, right?
right. Yeah, so, but, get with Wayne, we'll do what you want,
If it works for you.
wanna try to get accomplished.
We'll just move the road over 20, 30 feet.
That works.
That works for you?
Okay?
All right, Wayne will get with you. Thank you for coming in.
If I may just take a little bit,
Yes, sir.
this is just basically, this is our rock quotes for 2022. This is, something we do every year, and so this is for the file, for the purchasing policy, that basically this, it's recorded, these are the numbers that we'll be receiving the rock bids at. Jeff is here also to give you an update on the fire if you'd like to. And also too, with the fire, we do have a rental, that's gonna be coming in for a wheel loader, 930 wheel loaders, sole source from CAT. And it's gonna be $6,337.05 per month. So I'm just giving you a notice on that one, just to let you know.
When does it get here?
Jeff, is that today?
Afternoon.
This afternoon? So, you've seen some of the pictures, and Jeff has some more, I believe, too, if you'd like to get a report on that. On the fire.
They're busy also.
Yeah.
No, but I do wanna say that, 3 or 4 of the road and bridge guys were there right away, and even when things were hot, they were getting stuff out of the way, so I'd like to
Absolutely.
compliment them on getting there, because none of those guys were on call. Jeff was on call.
Helped a bunch.
Yeah,
But they got there, they came in on their own and did all this stuff, and probably prevented a very big tragedy.
absolutely, and our fire department was right there within
Kudos to
15
them.
minutes, they took that out. The other one that a lot of folks don't realize too is the cameras and dispatch, as I understand it, actually caught and saw the smoke.
Really.
So they were able to call it in, and so dispatch attentiveness basically saved us a lot as well, because that could've went through the truck barn and got all those trucks as well. I mean, we had tires stored back there and everything else. It could've been a real big mess, but the dispatch had made basically it saw that and made the call, got folks out there, started looking at things, and then the fire department got there, as folks heard the calls, because a lot of our folks are volunteer firefighters, and so they get the radio calls as well, and so a lot of folks showed up. But like Bob said too, it was our folks that were, that was in the area, is able to show up and help out, and so it was a team effort. And Jeff is working with the insurance right now, basically getting the adjusters there. There's three sets of adjusters, so we got one for the equipment, one for the tag,
The truck and one for the barn.
and then one for the barn structure.
Really don't have a lot to update right now. I mean, I have no prices, no anything. As you know, we're gonna have a heck of a time replacing that truck. Have had a few conversations, just preliminary.
That bed's savable, isn't it?
I believe so. I believe so. But
Easier to
I know
put
it
bed
won't
on.
fit, it's too big to fit on an F-550 or a Dodge 5500. It's too big, 15 foot. So I know I've also been talking to Pack Lease a little bit on something used potentially, so. Actually, that was our last Max Force engine. It was actually, scheduled to put a new, cabin chassis under that bed this year. As we all know, whether we could have done that or not.
Right.
Was that a 4300?
Yes,
That's what I thought.
And we don't wanna replace it with that either, so.
absolutely not.
Sure, you 650 or
Do what?
a 650 or,
Or like a Kenworth, 28, or 280.
280 or 330.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Probably we might be looking a little heavier truck that way, but.
Are you looking at something about the same size as a service truck?
It'd be a little bigger than a service truck. I believe our service truck is a, 350. I thought the same thing. I thought, well, why don't I just put that bed over on that truck? But, no, it's not big enough. And it's still utilized.
Could've been a lot worse, and nobody was hurt, so it
That's
doesn't matter.
most important.
Doesn't matter. That's why we have insurance.
The Nelsons didn't bid on rock this year.
We sent that out, we always have to chase them down as far as sending it out and giving them a call, so, Nelson at this point, as I understand, that rock quarry is pretty much inactive, and so the only one that they're running is the one out of gas. And, we get, the AIC from that one, right? The AIC on that one. Jeff and his team is working up the snow, the storm that's projected.
They're probably gonna need it.
Oh, yeah, the way they're showing it now, but, you know, that could change, but, it could be pretty treacherous, 8 to 12 inches is
It
what we
won't
got.
be bad, 'cause it's not on a weekend.
Well, I didn't think about that, Bob, you're probably right.
I thought about that yesterday.
I like that.
I've seen it.
We'll go with that.
Call you if it is that all right?
We're gonna call him.
You got a CDL?
Call me.
Right along, he could be the
Call
the
me.
gauge of the side of the road.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
I'll
Guys,
ride with you, Jeff.
Thank you. All right, running a little behind, we got communications.
Morning.
good morning.
I've been told I have 10 minutes, so.
Actually, yes.
What is it?
Except for
It's less than that,
It was
right?
15
Yeah.
behind.
Your 10's gone.
We'll shut you off when we had enough.
So, I wrote myself some notes so I could go quicker. But I just wanted to, I told you all last week, when I stopped in, just wanted to clarify some things. And maybe put out a couple other new ideas, real quickly. Obviously, broadband's a hot topic right at the moment. I always tell, water boards and city councils, you know, I'll come here until you're tell me to quit coming here, and then, you know, I'll go do something different. So, I'll come here until you get tired of me, right? The first thing I want to clarify is just a couple things that were said. I did watch the reading of the proposals, and I just want to clarify a couple things. Most importantly, I think it's important to note that both of QuickCom's proposals fully meet and comply with Arpa regulations. I think there were some things tossed out that maybe they didn't qualify for Arpa, and my understanding was after I discussed with Brad, he was going to clarify some of that with you all as well. So the fiber proposal to the 4 communities, that easily meets ARPA qualifications because those 4 communities are considered underserved. They're not considered no service. You know, there are some companies doing some service in that area, but our letters of support, as well as MT's own market research in those communities, easily allows for ARPA funding within the city limits of those 4 communities. And I can produce, whatever we need to show that. So I just wanted to clarify that neither of our proposals is against the ARPA regulations. So, that was one of the things that was said. I think maybe some confusion there on that front. The other thing I want to just throw in there on that subject is, and I have the ARPA regulations here, there's a quote in here that I always throw out, and I can just look that up real quick. Bear with me. We are dealing with ARPA in, I think I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, about a dozen to 16, 18 counties, and so we have to be very familiar with this. One of the things that we are using, I said this 2 weeks ago, but just to reiterate, where is that? I don't want to paraphrase it.
I don't know that there was not to interrupt you, but I don't know that there was an issue between your bid and ARPA. It was between your bid and the RFP.
Correct.
Having a fiber backbone,
right,
capability to run the wireless internet.
Right.
I think that was probably
there was a comment made regarding our fiber proposal that it didn't meet ARPA because those communities were served.
Oh, okay, I don't remember.
And that's just, all I'm saying is that those communities, it can easily be stated that those city limits cannot be served. So,
I don't disagree with
to
that.
To answer, that's my next point here, is to talk about our infrastructure. I made it very clear 2 weeks ago when I spoke with you all that we were not going to submit a fiber-fed proposal, because if I'm going to run fiber to those communities, I'm just going to build fiber to the home. So, I just want to reiterate that. I didn't submit anything that I hadn't already told you all about. Mm-hmm. So, we knew that we weren't going to meet your RFP. And so, I guess the thing that I want to make clear is if you're going to, if the goal here is to just, move forward with the RFP, we don't meet that. And we always said we weren't going to. So what we're trying to do is find a better way to potentially move forward than doing that. The third thing is, I think there was some confusion in it, and maybe it was on our part. The RFP, as we read it, didn't say anything about rural coverage in it.
I have not read it.
So I have that here.
Brad, did you read anything?
It does not state.
It doesn't state anything about rural.
All it says is, Coffee County Commission now requests proposals from authorized CLECs to construct a broadband project to serve reliable high-speed internet to the underserved communities of Lebo, Waverly, Gridley, and Leroy in Coffee County. We took that to mean the communities within the city limits, and that was what both our proposals were tailored to.
Right.
If that is the goal for rural coverage, we would change our offering on the wireless side. We can do rural coverage. We're obviously already doing it in the county. So that is just something I wanted to throw out there. Sorry, I have a lot of papers here. One of the things I provided you all with 2 weeks ago was some mapping. I do have some maps here, and I would appreciate if I could have these back. This is proprietary network information. But I just wanted to show this all to you. This is a little different than what I gave you last time. But if you notice all the towers in the county there,
So you're triangulating tires.
that was another comment that was made, was if one tower goes down, the whole county goes down. If you see, every tower there has, except for I believe Gridley, has at least 2 connections. So if one tower goes down, that tower is fed from another location. So I wanted to speak real quickly to just and that's all self-healing, so we don't have to flip a switch to change that path. If one tower goes down, it automatically reroutes traffic. So we operate a redundant self-healing network within the county.
How does that happen when there's 2 of them running, and then you're running 2, and then it goes to 1? Does that slow up? Does that
No.
slow up tremendously?
No, you may see some slowness, depending on where the outage is, but, outside of the county, we operate 3, within close range, we operate 3 10 gigabit fiber points. So, let's say if we normally feed you from Emporia, and one of those towers on that side of the network goes down, we could feed you easily from Garnett or Iola. So.
And that's where you have fiber at?
Those are the 3 points closest to you.
So that would be the fiber backhaul, so to speak?
So to speak. And I'm not gonna argue that fiber-fed towers aren't better, okay? I had this argument with Brad, last week, and we agree that fiber-fed towers are better. What I do wanna say is I think there was some confusion as to the quality of the backhaul network that we would operate in our proposal. I can move 10 gigabits of data over fiber, and I can move it over wireless. Neither one is slower or faster. In fact, just the physics of it, in some cases, wireless can actually be faster. In other words, the bits moving from one end of the network to the other can actually move faster through clean air than through fiber optic. But it's so negligible as to say I can move it the same with either medium. The big thing you're gaining with fiber is longevity. You know, that's a 20 or 30 year investment, as opposed to wireless is a 5 to 10 year investment. So, you know, that's really where wireless comes into play. But I can easily meet with a fiber-fed network the parameters of the RFP. The RFP doesn't state that. You know, like I said earlier, if the goal is to just do this project and only this project, we can't do it. In fact, no other company on the planet can do it for this price. That's the thing with this RFP, is there's only one company that can meet that for $500,000. Nobody else can run a backbone network to meet this, okay? So if that's the goal, that's all you need to say, is just, you guys don't meet it, and I'll move on down the road. So, any questions on any of that?
No, but I just do want to say I wish that you had been in this position when we did this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doubtful whether I'm pretty doubtful on the other situations, how it goes.
Right.
And I know you're a lot of places, and I wish you well with it, but since that we had made the decision,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no idea what the RSP said. I don't even know anything about it really, so I didn't know what it amounted to, but since we had already invested a couple $1 million,
right,
that was kind of a downfall for
right.
you.
I understand.
But I want to wish you well, because I think from what I've heard, you guys have been doing a fantastic job
Right.
out there. And my main concern is rural. I'm not too concerned about the cities. Overall, I mean, you know, we paid to have stuff ran to the cities. Are they getting anything? I don't know.
Right.
But my concern, and I think one of the other commissioners was here at the time, concern was rural.
Right.
And I don't know if rules got anything other than maybe you guys, so, at this point.
Yes, and we're committed to, you know, whether we can partner with the county or not, we're not gonna leave Coffee County. That's one of the things I wanted to point out. In the 2 years that we've seriously been in Coffee County, our customer count, I looked it up after last Monday's meeting, our customer count within the county is just under 250 customers. And most of that is within the last year. But within the last 2 years for sure, other than the customers up at Waverly. So our offering continues to expand dramatically. to the point where we're busy enough, we're probably going to be hiring people in the county. You know, our closest field technicians are in Garnett, and then I have one up in Osage County. But, you know, Coffee County is continuing to grow for us. It is a growing market. We're not looking to pull out of Coffee County, whether we partner with you or not. So, you know, obviously, if we were to do a major project like we're talking about, we would be hiring more people within the county. So the fact that we don't have anybody in the county today, you know, that's something I just wanted to throw out there. We do hire local field technicians, local service people. So on the note of moving forward, the one thing I wanted to point out and just make sure there was a clear understanding, if you cover these communities with 100 by 20 wireless or 100 by 100 wireless, one thing to consider whether you go with us or go with anybody else is be careful that you don't close off your county to future grant dollars. So what I'm saying is if you say you cover LEBO, and then QuickCom, you know, we're participating in the 10-year program with the state to serve communities like LEBO, we would now no longer look at LEBO because it's now covered. Okay, so as you're creating a strategic broadband investment, that would be one thing I would not forget about, is if you cover LEBO with wireless, it may be harder down the road to cover LEBO with fiber. We would have to argue that the company doing that, offering that internet in LEBO, is now covered, and we would have to argue that no, it's not really covered. We'd have to make that argument. Even the company that is providing, you know, let's say we get the RFP to do wireless, we would have to say our own service doesn't actually cover everybody in town. So just as you're thinking about that, whether you go with us or not, that's something that I would urge you to think about, is don't close your county off to future grant dollars. So if you had approached me 2 months ago, 6 months ago, whenever this started, and said we want to cover the county, what I would have done is I would have covered the cities with fiber first, so as to get that infrastructure there prior to closing that infrastructure off, and then you could even do it at the same time, do a wireless county project too. So that's really all I wanted to say there, was just make sure you're not closing yourself off to future dollars. So just have a quick note here about local neighboring projects. John Terry's gonna have to help me. We have commitments of investment from Hartford.
Yes.
Is it Hartford and Neosho Rapids? So we will be doing a project probably in those two communities. We're looking to get a commitment from Osage City and Burlingame. Burlingame's actually already committed. They're just trying to figure out how much. But Burlingame, Osage City, and then we have a $200,000 commitment from the city of Eureka to do projects, as well as what we have going on in Anderson County. So, you know, I think the area surrounding Coffee County is looking to do fiber to the home. And so, you know, that's all I want to say, is just don't get left behind on the fiber front. And, you know, whether you choose to do that through the provider that's already there or us, you know, just make sure. I feel it's important to not leave that behind. So, and then competition. I think I talked with you about this 2 weeks ago when I was here. I talked about Cox and how every community we built in Iola, Cox came in behind us and upgraded, offered better speeds for the price. So as you, and Bob, I understand, you know, you're in kind of between a rock and a hard place here, but if it's possible, you know, I believe bringing competition into the county is hugely important. So on that note, I know it can be confusing sometimes with speeds and pricing. I just have a quick little matrix here. This is directly off our competitor's website, but this would be our proposed plan on top that we submitted last week versus the local offerings currently. So just some clarification there on, you know, what competition can do for a county. It generally drives costs down and improves everything. So, you know, Cox would not have gone into those neighborhoods behind us and upgraded anything if we hadn't gone in and offered a new service. And we see that all over the state, so. And it makes us better. You know, competition makes us better too.
Right.
Competitors that come into our areas, you know, they force us to make sure we're at the top
Be
of
on
our
your A
game.
game.
Yep. So, I'm almost done here. Actually, I am done.
Well,
So, I wrote all that, and then I had a crazy idea. So this is just something to throw out, and, you know, take it or leave it, but, what if QuickCom utilized the county's backbone network? You have 4 strands.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm sorry, but to me, this is like coming in after the bid letting and changing the spec on the concrete.
yeah.
I understand.
I mean,
I'm not-
we let the bids, we had, Brad, can you assist me, please? We had an RFP, the spec was written, and no offense to
No.
QuickCom whatsoever. They can't meet the spec. I'm sorry, you can't meet the spec. MT met the spec, am I correct?
Correct.
Why are we here?
So, may I?
I don't, are you,
Your RFP states clearly at the bottom that you don't have to do it. You can
it
deny
does,
any and all.
it does, and it also says we can do it.
Absolutely.
As long- And the spec was basically wrote up by the federal government, not by Coffee County, the way I understand it. A website the government produced for this is what I was told.
I did not write the
I know you
RFP.
did not. I know you did not. I spoke to a person that wrote up the RFP that said it came off strictly off the Fed website that the specs came from. And he can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
anyway, I guess what I'm
Anyway,
saying is, I feel like we're sitting here after the bid letting, trying to change the spec on the concrete or the rebar or whatever the hell you wanna call it. I
Right.
mean, it's just, we can't change what's the spec that was bid. If we're gonna do that, then we're gonna throw them all out, we're gonna
Right.
start all over.
Right.
We're not gonna say, I'm better or I'm worse or whatever.
I understand.
I just,
Yeah, that was the way the RFP was written.
And I understand that, and all I'm asking is to just give me a little bit of time to throw out some ideas, to clarify some of my stuff. You know, if that's what, I said it at least a couple times now, if that's what the commissioners wanna do, we'll go down the road and we'll continue to invest into Coffee County privately.
well,
but-
I appreciate that.
So-
I'm just like, I'm a little dumbfounded here. I'm sorry.
I also was under the impression that we've got a certain date that we have to have this turned in by,
I
to
believe
get the
that
ARPA money.
that is, that, there is time for that. It's,
We started
ARPA
the time
money.
the way I understood it.
Yeah.
But I was told this morning that the spec
Well,
itself,
hopefully she's not
Excuse
traveling
me.
up there this week, cause we're supposed to get a
we're
lot
gonna
of
figure out
snow.
what to do about that door there too.
Oh, okay.
You know, I fully
Come off
understand.
of a website from, that the government laid down, you can use these ARPA funds for this, providing that there's backbone to the towers,
Right.
yada, yada, yada.
yes.
I could be corrected.
Backbone to the
But-
towers is not an ARPA requirement. I did check with, Southeast Kansas Rural Planning Commission on
Well,
that.
still is in our spec.
Right, absolutely. I'm not trying to argue against that.
So,
I just feel with the previous money that's been invested in the county for fiber backbone, you guys was at a disadvantage
Mhm.
going into the pheasant hunt.
Right,
And you knew that going in, but
Absolutely.
you still submitted the numbers that you submitted, and you still stand behind the numbers that
Yep.
you submitted. But at the end of the day, you was at a disadvantage.
absolutely.
And I think everybody realizes that you was at a disadvantage because of funds that have been appropriated to
Right.
fiber throughout the county in the previous years.
Right.
You know, so, and to Bob's thinking, because of that, we're closing off the county to outside bidders,
Absolutely.
service providers as yourself and others.
Right.
But if they'd have been if they'd have been around at that time.
At that
In
time.
2015.
I'm sure you would have bid it at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what I said,
Yeah.
we wished you,
So,
Yep.
but I mean-
we'd had competitive bidding at the time.
I think.
Chairman, if I may, just,
Can I finish just
You
for a
bet.
second, please? Right now, I think we're beating a dead horse. Right now. I really truly do,
We
and all
put
due
the bid
respect
out.
to you.
Right.
So, I mean, we've just gotta figure out how to make things work better in the future.
And as far as I'm concerned, we'll take both these bids. We haven't made a decision yet.
Correct.
We'll converse with Brad some more,
Right.
Vanderlyn if we have to, whatever. We wanna make sure,
We wanna make sure the fiber board's involved in this as well.
yeah, make sure everybody's or content, so.
And, you know, and backing up Bob, you know, when you get specs out there and you start to bid on them, I mean, those are specs, is what you're supposed to be bidding. My only question is, with everything coming out, and I don't fully understand as much as I probably should, but if there's something that would affect progress for the county 3, 4, 5 years down the road, if those specs were totally inaccurate, aren't gonna accomplish what may help us down the road, maybe it does need to be rebid. But I don't know enough to say.
You know, but I just wanna say, where I think you were headed a while ago, I don't think this fiber is the county's. I think MCT Network owns it all. Is that correct, Brad? We don't own it.
correct,
We gave them the money.
we have 4
Well,
fibers.
We don't own it.
The offer has been made to us in the last year or so that, and I believe Valnet and/or TelXP has access to the county's fiber. That's the direction I was going with my
Right.
future proposal, but, you know, if we're.
Future proposal, we would,
If-
we'll do another proposal.
Obviously, we're hoping.
Not looking for one now.
Right, we're hoping that, you know, with some new information, maybe this
I
might
would-
go out for a new proposal.
I would say don't disclose all of your stuff you've got under your ammo bag.
That's the beauty of my position with QuickCom, is anywhere I go, we're cheaper, faster, better. So I can disclose and nobody else can match it. So I mean,
Right.
I'm not used to signing NDAs and, you know, trying to keep things close under the vest. I like everybody to have all the information and just make the decision, you know, based on, if this is what I can do, this is what I can do it for. I'm not jerking you around. You know, it's a fair product at a fair price, so.
All right, Eric.
I think I think I have a tendency to agree with these guys.
Right.
I don't agree with the way everything came down.
Right.
But and maybe we'll close this, but as you get, maybe you can work with MT Network. Maybe you can use their trunk maybe you can figure out, because to me, it's pretty obvious, they don't want to do the rule. Maybe you can use their trunk and then you do the rule, become part of them. But as far as this today, I have to say, this is basically what our SP said, and it's way we gotta go with it, so.
Just one closing comment. You know, I think the county is at a critical position for the next 5 to 10 years on whether you do something different and bring competition in, or keep going the same way that you've been going. And, you know, if you dump a bunch more money into the way you've been going, it makes absolutely no sense moving forward to do anything different. And so, you know, that's the only thing. I just want everybody to think about that.
Right.
We're here to be that Elon Musk to the market, right? We upset the market everywhere we go, because we're doing it usually at half the cost, and it's a very good product. So that's my closing statement. I won't take up any more of your time. We will continue to invest into the community. We will continue to increase speeds. We increased speeds in mid-2021. We'll do it again as we can reliably offer it. So that's our pitch, and I told you at the beginning, I come until you're tired of hearing me.
Right now, I'm gonna have to shut you down.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, we were way behind. HR Partners, Christina, she throw a cot and take a nap?
I was listening. You heard when you said HR partners, I ran out here immediately.
We're gonna have to try to make some time up somewhere.
I can make time up. I can work with you on that.
I see how big that clip is. I don't
Well,
think
it's
this
a
is gonna
clip.
be
I
shit.
brought it here just in case to discuss. I know I had 3 things on my agenda to speak with you, this morning about that, I know you want to talk about. So there may be other things that you want to discuss as well too. So the 3 are to finalize, the payroll situation and, make decisions on that. The second one was about the sick leave and the 160 hours and looking at that particular policy. And then the last thing was about Wayne's position in the future being open because of his respective retirement. And if you wanted us to assist you in the recruitment process in regards to that. So those were the 3 things on my agenda. Is that accurate? I'm like looking at you, Jesse.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, okay, okay. Well, what would you like to start with?
It's 90 hours, or 72 hours.
Yeah,
Okay, this?
yeah, that.
Thank you, Angie, for making this as big as
We need to get this
possible.
off dead center because.
Correct.
I mean, we said when this started, the cost of living raises would come in January. January came and went, so
Yes.
we need this done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the choices that we have here, and what I appreciate that Angie has put together, because I'm all about, and you are too, all about the money and what is it gonna cost. Because in order for us to make this transition happen, you know, your respective county employees are gonna get double paid for those 9 days. And, we chose February, so it wouldn't be 10 or 11. So here is, as you see, if you look at that respective column right in the middle of how much it's gonna cost, you can go down to the bottom and see what the cost will be. Now, we did discuss. Oh, go
Granted,
ahead.
some of these people aren't employed here,
There are some that,
that's
Yeah.
gonna change. It's not
But it's
not
a-
hard numbers.
that's a good point. It's a fluctuating number, but at least that's an average.
Right,
We got a target to look at,
Right,
so to
exactly.
speak.
We won't very, very much from that. so.
No.
Yeah. So, when we did discuss this last time, we were talking about different ways to pay for this, and one of them was with the cost of living increase. I'm still, of course, in that respective camp that, you know, why doesn't the county pay for it just on its own? You know, because this is not, you know, the issue with the employees. This was a business decision that was made. And I also look that this has been done incorrectly for a long, long time. And by just doing this one time, then it will be correct from this point forward. I also, why I want to go that route more so than go the cost of living route is it will be an administrative nightmare. You will get a lot of comments from your respective employees of how we came up with those numbers and why did we make this decision when, you know, it did not affect them. It was not their decision. So I don't care what you decide, but I just know that I work with employees on a regular basis, and when it comes to money, they're very sensitive, you know, towards it, which I understand as well too. So that's the decision to make, is we've already decided we need to do this. We need to decide how we're going to do it, if we're going to do it through the cost of living increase. And I even brought one of my pieces of paper is what your history has been on the cost of living increases. So cost of living increase, to pay for this, yes or no? And if we say no, then we just pay for it, you know, the county does.
Okay,
Yes.
I have this weird thought.
Okay.
Imagine it.
I like the way you prefaced that,
I
though.
know Don doesn't like percentages.
Yes.
And I'm not sure to. So I'm just thinking, what if we take all the numbers of the county employees,
Mhm.
and we take our department heads, our elected officials, put all them in, a 9-day for them, and then divide that by the number of county employees, and everyone gets the same amount of money for cost of living. Because if you are the $11 an hour employee, it costs you just as much to go by and take a gas as it does the $22. That's cost of living, that's not a percentage, that's a cost of living that everyone shares the same cost.
I guess my question to that is, have you ever heard of anyone doing it that way?
No, but we've done a lot of things. We've been the
And I
first to do it-
appreciate the
to do a lot of
percentage,
things.
but the majority of people that I know go by the percentage, whether we like it or not. So if you decide that you want to do something innovative.
But we haven't always
such
run
as-
by percentages.
Yeah, well, and
We
that's
haven't
just
always done
it.
that.
And that's just it, that's your business decision.
You can still go by a percentage to come up with the total number. And then you just
Distribute it
distribute it out
differently. Now, that
across
is
the
done
board.
all the time on the merit side. On the merit side, that's done all the time.
And this is basically what it would be, other than a cost, I mean, it's just happening at the cost of living time. So we're gonna do this at the cost of living time to make the books come back, everything be on the up and up like it should be. I ain't even gonna go there, but, you know, you look at, I mean, just throw out there a 3.5% increase. You know, that's a total dollar of whatever. Take that, run it through the Excel spreadsheet, boom, there's your number.
Yeah.
You know, and each employee gets the same amount. That's still an average, you know, in there. So I just, and it's not messing up our scale.
Yeah.
Because if we did a percentage onto our scale, that's gonna move their dollar per hour. Then in April, they're gonna get a step increase, and that's gonna screw the whole step system up.
Plus new hires coming in is gonna mess it up.
Exactly.
Plus next year, you're gonna have a new hire at one rate, you're gonna have old employees at another rate.
So
And that's, I really like the idea of taking whatever that 3.5% is and dividing by 150 employees, which is gonna be $1,500 per employee. It does keep everything on a total equal basis.
And the only difference we would
That's
have
what
is
you're
the
referring to.
department.
Basically,
Yeah.
that's basically what I was saying.
Well, what I would recommend if you choose to do that is, I do think it would be in the best interest to continue that practice and not go back and forth from the percentage to, you know, dividing it amongst all the employees. I just think that would be cleaner, and people would be able to understand that. The reason why I'm here today is to get this final decision, is we have to communicate this with the employees. We're at the cusp of it occurring, and we want to be able to tell them that this is what's happening. Because they're going to see more money in their respective paycheck in February, and they're going to want to know why.
What's your thoughts on issuing 2 checks versus 1? It'll throw them in a higher tax bracket, they'll have less dollars. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, not much,
and
it'll all bounce out at the end of the year, 2022.
It's one of those, I would look at Angie about that, because I don't want to create an administrative nightmare, you know,
And I
for
think
her
that's what
to issue another paycheck.
And I think that's what we're trying to avoid by doing the 9 days.
Yeah.
We had that discussion weeks ago, that 9 days was the simplest for Angie's office, the simplest for all persons involved, which amounts to around 3.46. So to get it off dead center, I myself would be just in favor of just doing the 9 days, consider it cost of living raise, and move on.
Okay.
That way, she's not going through the nightmare that you're trying to explain to us.
I
It makes life
and that's,
so
I
much
mean,
simpler for her
correct.
and everyone else.
And it's just coming from someone who has administered 2 payrolls of 100+ people, it's complicated.
Well, everybody gets 9 days paid. It comes out to 3.46, which would be a percentage of cost of living. And I know most people aren't in favor of percentages, but I think it makes it easiest for the payroll clerk to do it this route and any other route, try and reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And then in April, if they qualify for a step increase, they get a step increase, and we're done. Fairly simple.
Okay.
I like that idea too.
Okay.
I mean, that's-
3.46%?
Well, no,
Or just-
the 9 days comes out
Okay,
around that.
okay,
It is
I
346, 72 hours, about 2,080. It
mhm,
is 346.
okay,
So it's very close to that 3.5.
So when you're
Yeah.
looking at the 3% and the 3.5 and the 4, I mean, it's in there.
gotcha.
So the 9 days is basically a cost of living.
And that was very simplistic, the way you put it together, that it can be articulated to the employees that way. That this is, where these 9 days are gonna be covered by this amount, which is considered the cost of living increase for the year, and then you're eligible for your step increase effective April 1.
So I think, Angie, you stepped out for a minute, but they were wondering if that makes sense, a separate check? I mean, for that 9 days, or no, just,
They were asking, when you stepped out, whether or not it would be easier or not to just do the 9 days in one check.
Well, if we did do that, we would need to do it like this next week or so to do that. Or we can do, at the end of the month, we can put it on as other pay.
Mhm.
Of course, the only issue with that is if you have, say, someone from the sheriff's office that might be paid other pay, and I use you because they sometimes have something like that.
Correct.
Then they're not gonna see the breakdown of that.
Yeah.
So it might be better, but then we'll go right into the next payroll, which that'll give us a little time in between the next payroll and this one.
So you're open to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So to you, it might be simpler to issue 2 checks.
Yeah, and that way
To me-
it's
to me
very
it would be
clear to
more
employees
paperwork,
but to
how
me
much they're
Clear.
getting.
More
That makes
identifiable.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I
it
think
does,
we
I
need
just
to
want to
keep
make
this
it like that, I want
identifiable.
to create a nightmare over
No,
there.
no, I think it would be more cut and dry.
It's
This
a
is the
bonus
amount.
check.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get it
Yeah.
at the end of the month, then it's combined with everything, and then they're gonna, you know.
Gets confusing.
Mhm.
And your 2 checks, at least one check isn't gonna be astronomically high. You're gonna have 2 of them that the tax is gonna be
Tax
taken
is
out
good.
of. Be a little less.
Mhm.
Instead of taxing this big
Right.
number, you're taxing a smaller number.
Right,
I don't want to add them together and keep from.
yeah, we can do that.
The only, we got some employees that's working 1,200 hours, some of them working 800 hours, some of them 1,000, so we're gonna, those employees will be prorated down based on the number we come up
And
with.
then we won't have to worry about sick and vacation with it, it'll just be a
Yeah.
paycheck, and that's it.
See, that sounds simple.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's much easier.
So just so I'm clear, well, you haven't made a motion yet, I'll wait until you do that, and then
Well,
I'll clarify.
I myself want to make sure it doesn't create a nightmare for you. If you're okay with it,
Mm-hmm.
and if everybody else is okay with it, that's what I say.
Okay.
I mean,
So you was saying 3.46, you wanna go to 3.5?
No, we're just gonna do 9 days.
Just do the 9
Oh,
days.
do 9 days.
And I'm sorry I said 3.46, but what it does is, that's what, if it was a cost of living raise,
Right.
that's what it calculates out to be.
Okay.
So, 9 days paid, and like I see one of there is a $1,690 check. Different from the paycheck, correct? Give or take, I'm just
Yeah, I
throwing
guess
numbers
my
out.
only question, okay, so like how I have it presented here is what you're talking,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we were
That's
talking
clear,
about,
that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
there was some
Hold that
discussion
page right
about
there
taking,
and
That's what it is, okay.
stop it.
Gotcha.
there was some discussion about taking the total dollar amount, dividing it to the employees, and we all get,
I think you're creating a nightmare.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean,
Well, are you?
I don't know,
Really?
that's,
It's just a bonus check?
so now they're saying, if you go down to the back,
Go to the very
it's
back.
$220.78, $220,768, divided by how many employees.
and then everybody gets the
everybody
same
gets the
bonus
same
check is
raise.
what they're saying.
But that has nothing to do with getting payroll to me on the correct page, or does it?
I'd have to look into that for the legalities of that, because, like I said, we're going into an arena that's not normal in regard, yeah, because people's pay is based on their respective hourly rate or salary, and, we're trying to be, 9 days paid, and it would not be 9 days paid, it would be like a,
And that-
I say we
that-
keep
that
it
don't hurt your-
simple, do the 9 days and.
so I apologize, I would have to look into that, the legalities
that'd
of
be an
that.
issue there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's,
I like the thought behind it, but I also see
Yes.
a potential issue.
yeah.
Well, they're still gonna get paid for the 9 days. This is just gonna be a bonus.
It'll be at a different
Yes,
level.
I agree, but like I said, before I pull the trigger on something like that, and we do something across your respective county, I would have to make sure that this is cool with the Department of Labor.
The rate
Because,
per hour for every employee is gonna be changed if we do it that way.
yeah.
And that may be an issue
Mm-hmm.
with wage and hour.
Yes. But I have to double check. I'm not saying yay or nay.
But if we do it the way Tom,
Yeah.
proposed,
No problem.
No
There's
problem.
no problem.
No problem. It's,
And that's, again, they brought that up, I don't know how many weeks ago now, 2 months ago,
Mhm.
3 months ago,
Can I
9 days, go ahead.
something? Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but.
You're fine,
Um,
I get it.
I think that, I understand what Bob's saying, and I understand what Don's saying when you're talking about like a cents per hour.
Mhm.
In any other year, I would say you could do that,
Mhm.
but because we're trying to get on track with the paid for real time, I don't see that that is the same
Mhm.
thing
Yeah.
as what she's.
Yeah.
no, I agree.
Because
now
we're,
that it's
we're,
been
we're putting in this
explained.
category of 9 days,
Right.
9 days paid, and when everybody's getting paid the same, that's 9 days, that's not 9 days
For the
paid.
$22 hour person, that's not gonna be 9 days pay.
Correct,
And so,
correct.
Wage and hour, I think.
yeah, they'd
But
be
I
on
agree
that
with
like
Angie,
well,
I'm not saying no to that in the future, but I'm just saying with this, you know,
right.
little issue that we've got
We
here,
better stay at their average.
yes,
I almost bet you gotta stay with our regular hourly rate.
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Tom?
I think I really just, again, when we brought that up a
Yeah.
couple months ago, it just made perfect sense to me for
Okay.
some reason, so.
So salaried and elected officials would be, figure out their salary and what 9 days it would be,
Yes.
that's what they would get.
Yeah, 346.
Mhm.
It does keep everything on a level
Yes,
playing
it
field.
does.
Mhm.
I think in this scenario, like next year, you could do
Mhm.
50 cents per hour for everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Or whatever, but I just think in this.
And I don't have a problem, I wanted to do this 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But there was never a way to get it figured out.
Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah, well, we figured it out. But now that we've figured it out, and then we can, you know, make the change, and then you'll have a true, you know, payroll system that is doing it on real time, then you can open yourself up to further discussions in the future in regards to not doing those percentages for cost of living and doing, you know, so much per hour. I agree with you.
Is there a way to move the step, because a person does a cents per hour to an individual, that's gonna move their step, and then they're gonna be eligible for 2 steps. So we do a cents per hour in January
Mhm.
for cost of living increase.
Mhm.
That's gonna screw up the step chart.
Yeah, probably. I need to,
How can we fix this?
I don't know.
Because, I mean,
I'm telling you, Jesse, one thing at a time.
we're dodging the bullet this
I
year,
know.
doing it the way we're doing
Yes,
it.
I
But
agree,
we've
but
gotta
I
worry
will
about it next
say,
year.
I know I laugh because I don't know anything about your step system. I'm clueless.
It's better than what it was, but
It's still,
stuck.
okay.
It's there. And I don't know if a person can advance the steps out,
Yeah.
so to account for your, cost of living increase.
Mhm.
So if you just make more steps, that's gonna have your people that are that are topped out can still advance in the step.
Well, I'm all into steps, but I'm also into the market, and I'm
Yeah.
also into, everybody has a cap.
There is a cap out there.
And, you know, it
But
is what it is.
they're still getting an addition to their topped out.
Well, if they're
as far
topped
as the
out,
cost of living
yes, and if they're topped out, usually what we do is they get a cost of living increase, or they get a bonus.
We've only got 5 people topped out right now. When I
Okay.
broke that all down
Yeah.
here 3 or 4 months ago, we only got 5 people topped out currently.
Okay. But it's one of these, I don't know how, we've got 5 topped out right now, but I don't know if in the next, 5 to 10 years,
There's
we're
5
gonna
next year-
have,
5 next year, then
Okay.
1 after that, there's 0, and then there's 7.
okay,
If we
see?
do that this year, we've got a year to figure out. the
Yes.
next one. So
Yeah.
this, to me, this is where,
Angie?
I'm not worried about next year.
I know, but I appreciate the heads up, but I don't know anything about your step system. I haven't gotten,
Just a thought,
yeah,
what if we reversed when we do cost of living? What if we did steps first in the year and then did cost of living in April?
That way it wouldn't mess the percentage prior to the step.
Right.
I don't know, it's just something we're gonna have to look at, because I can just see a train wreck coming down the,
Yeah, it would
down
be,
the rail.
that's another nightmare
Mhm.
that would be, but then you would granted, it would be a couple months till we got cost of living, but once you got on schedule again,
Right.
then they'd always get it.
You can make a better business decision.
Right. There's a lot of them coming.
Mhm.
Just a thought, but yeah, we've got
No, I
to
like
figure it
that.
out,
I
so.
do.
I say we go back to the 9 days and let's get that finished.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Awesome.
I'll make the motion.
Make the motion to go, Tim has made the motion to go 9-day pay in place or in conjunction of a cost of living increase to county employees. Made the motion.
We need to,
Tom,
You know, any different verbiage in that?
Let's see, move to pay 9 days paid to all employees at their current rate in conjunction as the cost of living
Mhm.
to get,
that includes exempt as well as non-exempt employees,
including,
need to cover
yeah,
both.
including,
So I would like that same minus commissioners.
Yeah,
yeah, my
Yes.
information.
including all
I'll
salaries.
make that.
forget about it.
Yeah, salary and,
She gets her down on second.
I guess that'd cover the elected officials, would it not?
And elected.
Yeah, minus the commission. I got a headache. I think it's two.
Okay, I'm gonna work with Angie to get a memorandum together that can go out to all staff to explain this. I think you should also put within the motion that it will be a separate check,
To be paid.
the
in
9
separate
days,
check.
yes. Okay,
We've got the motion,
Mike, if you don't mind, Mike.
have her read it.
Mike,
Have her
read
read
that.
it.
mhm,
Pretty important decision to move forward with.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure she's got,
Minus the commission.
Okay. Move to pay 9 days paid to all employees, including all salaried and elected, in parentheses minus commission, at their current rate of pay, in conjunction as the cost of living to get payroll on a paid for real-time pay plan. This will be paid as a separate check.
he mentions salaries and elected, what about the
Minus
non?
salaried, elected, including all salaried
Oh,
and elected, minus the commission. Is that okay, or do you want to say it differently?
No, department heads are salaried.
They
yeah,
are
they're salaried.
Is there hourly?
Are non-exempt or not salaried?
hourly, to be paid to
I think
all
we need
hourly
three, I
employees.
think we need three
Yeah,
things.
hourly employees, salary
Including all
employees, and
salaried and
elected
elected.
officials minus.
We need all three categories.
Yes, yeah, she had the, she
Need all
forgot the
four.
hourly,
Yeah,
yeah.
all
To be
four.
paid to all
Commissions
hourly
out.
employees, including all salaried and elected officials, minus commission, at their current rate of pay in conjunction as the cost of living to get payroll on a paid for real-time pay plan. This will be paid as a separate check.
Tim made the motion.
I'll make the motion.
I second it.
Tom seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Done.
Yay.
Thank you.
There's one milestone.
I know, thank you.
I think that worked out well.
All right, this is very good job. The sick leave payout. Do you want to discuss the sick leave payout or not?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, Andrea reached out to me to tell me that you had some questions on this. I looked at your respective policies on this particular issue, and then I did share with you other county policies in regards to their sick leave distribution. So long story short, there's nothing legal about sick leave, meaning you make a business decision on how you want to structure this. So at the end of the day, I don't care as long as you're consistent in administering it. But my only concern when people look at their benefits and they change their benefits and they change it to basically benefit the employees more, that's great. But if you ever make a decision in the future, well, why did we do that? We need to bring it back. That's not always a fun day when you do that. Now, I'll give you an example. some of the respective counties that I'm representing right now were very generous with their respective sick leave policies and distribution of a percentage of that sick leave upon retirement. And they're finding out, guess what, just like you said, the aging workforce, it's costing the county a lot of money. At the time, they did it as an incentive, you know, to keep people on, but then guess what? People hoarded it because they knew they were gonna have a percentage of it, and, you know, then they had a problem.
And then people coming to work sick because they're not gonna give up a day.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, because it becomes real money at that time. There's no other way to put it. Usually the way sick leave policies should be designed is just for that. If there is an issue with surgery or something catastrophic, or you have cancer, I mean, you should have enough there to get through that episode and get paid at full pay. But when you have it where it just goes on and on, I've had some counties, they don't even have maximums, and I've got people that have 1,000 hours plus. So I guess your issue is, when it comes to your policy, you have to have at least 160 hours before, you know, above and beyond that 160 hours before you can see a payout. Is that correct,
Well, that was the
Andrea?
question of how it was worded. It doesn't necessarily say
And
that.
it's funny, I read it as such, but, you know, anybody can interpret it a
Or
little bit
people
different.
read it 4 different ways,
Yes.
interpret it 4 different ways.
And
Not
honestly,
real
even if
good.
you have that challenge where they read it, you know, 4 different ways, I would have to go back to Angie and say, okay, how have you administered it?
Mhm.
Have you, I mean, yeah, it's been read this way, but what has been the history on the payment when it comes to above the 160 hours?
Okay, I wanna throw a kink in this whole thing, and probably I'm the only one in here who really knows this.
Okay.
Angie knows it. Carl Lee, for example, was an hourly employee.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Lee went to, he became a supervisor, so he was exempt.
Mm-hmm.
But he got paid for some of his sick leave when he left,
Oh, from a non-exempt to exempt?
right?
Hmm.
But if Carl Lee goes back to an hourly employee, our policy says we give him back all the sick leave we've already paid him for.
Really?
If we're looking at sick leave, we need to be looking at that.
Okay. Well, that's,
Very right.
I'm over here going, I know.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I don't like that respective policy is, I don't like the distinction between exempt and non-exempt. I never have. Your employees should be accruing at the same level no matter what, you know, category they're in. So that's number one. Number two, he was under the umbrella of the county. I would have never did a distribution to him. He would have kept it. He would have had his respective balance when he went over to, you know, the exempt
Department head,
status.
whatever. Mhm.
I've never heard of a distribution of anything while they're still under the umbrella as,
You have now.
yeah, I know.
Now you see why you got that booklet over there.
I know.
So that's something we need to look at while
Okay.
we're looking at sick leave.
Yeah.
That's not,
So I guess what I want to recommend here, the reason I wanted to show you this is because I do have on the calendar, but I'm afraid it's on Wednesday when, of course, you know, the world's going to come to an end and we're going to have a lot of snow. But I had a meeting with your respective leaders here at Coffee County to start looking at the policies and to start weeding this down and fixing your respective policies, then to come to the commissioners with those respective recommendations. I wanted the leaders to do some heavy lifting here.
I thought we were the leaders.
You are, but I want them to give me kind of a heads up on what they're thinking before I bring it to the commissioners.
Can you cut
But
that?
I am gonna bring it to you because obviously, absolutely you're leaders, but it's one of these where I wanted the folks that are doing the day-to-day, you know, operations to give me a heads up what's working and what's not working before I come to you.
Can you reduce that volume by half
This-
and still
this is
accomplish
going-
what a policy ought to
I have
do?
never, ever, I did meet another county the other day that was at 100. Most are 50 pages.
To me, that is twice to three times,
Well,
probably three times.
what this does is increases your liability.
But it puts a burden on you.
Exactly, and just
That's-
because I'm an HR person and I'm married to an employment attorney, I wanna tell you, less is best, and you guys are out of control. And so, I mean, well, can I, I get from the peanut gallery, but no, but I will say, what we have done, and I know you have a copy of it, Andrea, did you give them a copy of the grid? We put together a grid. Here's your policy, here's our recommendation. And you're gonna see a lot of recommendations. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, or redo it, or bring it down to a sizable number. So, when I knew you wanted to talk about this sick leave, I'm ready to talk about not only that, but all your respective policies. I wanna crank it out all at once.
I have a question though, back
Yes.
to, like, using Carly as the example for
Yeah.
getting paid out.
Poor
Because-
Carl. I know.
Because that's how
You
it's
have to
always done,
come in,
because now
buddy.
as a salaried employee,
Yeah.
if Carl's sick tomorrow, he doesn't have to use a sick day.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So if he didn't get paid out for his sick time, that's basically dead time, sitting there, it's like it doesn't exist, it just went away if he didn't get paid for it, because now he doesn't need to use sick time anymore. So if he didn't get paid out for it, because he looked kind of shocked when he got, because that's just.
So you have a policy that if he's exempt, that he doesn't have a sick leave balance, he's just can be gone?
You know, is he our only exempt employee currently that has came from hourly?
No, I mean, that's happened in the past, it's been the same way
What's
they get
happened in the
paid
past
out.
is the only current one now.
No.
My point wasn't so much that he got his sick
Yeah.
leave. My point is, if he goes back, because we've done this, we
Yeah.
have gave those people back
Their
their
money?
sick leave again, and they have gone, so we have paid them on that again.
reimbursed me for where I was at.
We've doubled
I
it.
hear you.
We need to fix.
That's my point, is we
Okay.
can't just, we're paying double.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, I didn't know that, Bob, so I appreciate the heads up on that, because I know I'm going to be pulling back a lot of layers, but just like this payroll issue, we're gonna get it fixed. We're gonna get it fixed, but the problem is changing it, we need to quit changing things around all the time, but I know that can change with the, elections and new people on the respective, commission and others. But can we table that sick leave discussion until I have a substantive conversation with the,
Sure.
daily leaders, and then I will be back here within the month with a strong case on, here are some of the policies we really need to look at, yes.
So the discussion on the sick leave was, and I hate to bring
No.
this up, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, that they had, let's just say they had 500 hours saved up. They were to donate the first 160 to the sick pool.
No.
They didn't have to, they just were, because
Don't
they
have
thought
to.
they were losing it anyway, so they might as well donate it to the pool.
Yeah.
Because they were taking it off, so
It's
they
not
were.
mandatory, but it's
Right.
suggested since
So
they're not getting paid for it.
they were voluntarily giving up 160 hours of sick leave to the pool because they thought they were gonna lose it.
Supposedly. But I guess it's not articulated, it's just, meaning that's not a policy, it was a practice.
But then they were getting paid for half of what the balance was. of
Right.
5.
If they gave up 160 hours, that's 160 hours wiped away, and that brings the top down 160 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
When all reality, they could get paid full for the 160 and half for anything balanced after that.
Depending on how you interpret that.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
basically, people were just giving it up because they thought they were gonna lose it.
Mhm.
Instead of drawing full pay of
Mhm.
160 hours and
Mhm.
half for the balance.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I want to see some clarification.
And I don't know how you guys came up with the magic 160 hours, and it's just like, here we go back to percentages. Sorry, you don't like your percentages, but usually what they do is, whatever your balance is, let's say it's, 500 hours, you get a percentage off of that balance. And it's never 100%. No one that I know ever pays out 100% in sick leave upon retirement. They pay a percentage, and it's 60% or 50%, something like that.
I know you and I talked about
Yeah.
some comparative counties going out,
Yeah.
comparing them to more of the surrounding counties,
Mhm.
since that's usually what we kinda go by, and several of them do pay out at the end of the year. If you have a max of 480 for one, 720 for others, they're paying out. If you have an overage of after a certain amount, you're getting paid in December for the overage, not bringing you to nothing, but like Allen County has over 720, Anderson County, or Lyon County has over 240 hours. So they're paying, people can still use them, so they're not hoarding them.
They're calling it up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They're keeping it down on a year-to-year
Correct.
basis versus
Correct.
once in a century.
You bet. That's what they're doing. So you're getting a percentage off, or you're getting some a little bit over time, instead of one chunk all at once. But then we go back to what Bob said, you know, I see that only in government entities continuing that practice. That hasn't happened in a lot of our respective, you know, for-profit businesses, and a lot of it is, like what Bob said, people were coming to work sick. They wanted that, you know, additional check at the end of the year. So that's why they kind of got away from it. And then the pool, here's the only negative about the pool. When you have a pool and people who exhaust their sick leave and they can go to the pool, and if they have a catastrophic and that's why a lot of people have gotten away from it, because a lot of liability and lawsuits came from it. How come, you know, Bob got, you know, 240 and Tom got, you know, 160? There's not always a consistency in it. It sometimes becomes a popularity contest. I'm going to help, you know, so-and-so out because I know them.
We've
So,
seen that too.
yeah, I mean, and that's just it is. So that's why I'm going to give you suggestions. But I appreciate Andrea also. I looked at my respective counties, and it's good to look at what others are doing, but at the end of the day, it's your business decision. And I want to emphasize, a lot of things that I'm going to be bringing to you are your business decision. There's some legal stuff that I'll say this is not up for debate, but the majority is going to be your decision.
Okay, something else you probably don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm getting ready to retire and I have a bunch of sick leave,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna retire into this year probably, let's say, Jesse gets sick. Before, I have been able to take my sick leave and give it to Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't, I mean, he's ran out, so he's using my sick leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that appropriate? I'm making $18 an hour, and Jesse's making $10 an hour, but he's getting my $18 an hour sick leave.
No, I don't know. That's why I don't like that respective system. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, that's just, yeah.
And I'm going to also be honest with you. There are a majority of the reasons why I don't like it also is, you know, Jesse didn't manage his time very well for 20 years. He earned and burned all his darn career.
He'd only been here 3 years, but I'd been here 27.
Yeah.
And
so that's, like I said, it opens up a Pandora's box and that's why at the end of the day, I tend to like stay in your own lane. And what I mean by stay in your own lane is you accrue your sick leave and you get rewarded accordingly.
And don't move anything into a pool.
And if someone has something catastrophic, that's what we call short-term and long-term disability benefits.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, it just takes the administrative burden off the respective county, but also the liability burden.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, I gave all my staff short-term and long-term disability and life insurance benefits, and I paid for it because I want to have a controllable sick leave, you know, process. So.
It'd be much easier for us to administer, or Angie and her team to administer.
Yeah.
Short and long-term disability insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not writing the book. It's
No.
given to you.
Correct.
Here's the guidelines, you follow,
You
oh,
bet.
wait a minute,
You bet.
you don't follow in the guidelines.
Yeah.
Sorry, better get to work.
Mhm.
I'm almost thinking that would be less costly to the county too.
It probably would be.
Because
Probably would
if
be.
you did pay for that,
Yeah.
for what it costs per person.
It's very,
That cost
I mean,
is probably minimum.
Long-term.
short-term and long-term, and even life insurance, I mean, accidental death and dismemberment is so cost-effective.
You can do a, you can do a self-fund, kinda like a health insurance, and pay for it out of the county instead of buying a policy.
7 minutes.
Instead of buying a dang
Yell
policy.
at them when it gets
And
time.
spending that premium
I have to
money
be out of
there.
here at
We
10:45.
could do, I know a guy that could.
I know, because I didn't
Do a
get up here
self-fund type
until,
You don't pay attention to those guys back there.
I was paying attention to
Read
that,
it,
the clock.
But they would write it.
Jesse will tell you when you're done.
Okay, okay.
I was explaining to Angie, you could do a self-fund, short and long-term disability, instead of paying an astronomical dollar for a premium.
Yeah.
We could do it, and have a company write up your requirements of short and long-term disability, and do a self-fund deal, and I think it'd save, at least you'd have the money in the account,
Yeah.
instead of paying a premium for what if. I hate health insurance, I hate
Yeah.
insurance.
And we could do that because we have a good fund
Yes, sir.
already. It could be
Yes, sir.
some of it could be
It could
transferred
be
over
very
to
easily
the
done.
other funds.
Mhm.
It's already got
And
10 million in it.
we could do it.
Yes, and it'd save the county money. It would,
Mhm.
it would, yes.
Okay. Final thing is, I did give the respective commissioners, if you want us to assist you in recruitment for Wayne's position when it becomes, because he's going to be retiring, this is how we work when it comes to recruitment. I am not a headhunter, meaning I do not charge a percentage. I love these numbers. I do not charge a percentage off the first year income. I just facilitate the process. I facilitate it, just like any HR person would who, works for the respective organization. I facilitate it and charge my hourly rate. And if you want to see kind of how much recruitments have cost in the past, I can give you that. I laid it all out there in the proposal, but we help you advertise it, we help you screen them, we help you get the, phone screen interviews, the face-to-face interviews. You can make a decision, a business decision, if you want me in the room during the face-to-face interviews or not to facilitate it. That's up to you. I come in and out of the picture as much or as little as you want me to.
Or have you conduct the interview and we sit back and listen?
You can do that too. And I've done that, Jesse, where I don't have any skin in the game and I've facilitated that. It's funny, one of my electric cooperatives up in the Northeast, that's what their respective board wanted me to do, so they could listen and do the probing questions, which I'm okay with. And then I'm big on background checks. We will do background checks. And I'm assuming the county already does that.
Sheriff's office.
Okay, because we do the criminal, the credit, we do all of that. And so if you need, and professional references, education verification, that kind of stuff, we can do that as well.
That would definitely keep it on a professional level of interviewing.
But it's gonna cost quite a little bit.
It will,
It's gonna cost quite a little.
it
Well, that's
depends.
what I was gonna say, projected costs on a few.
I will tell you the last 20 executive recruitments I've done in the last year and the price, and I will send that to Andrea to distribute to you. And you'll see not a lot of them are my government entities, they're more of my nonprofits, like the National Grain and Feed Association. So I'm working with boards and, for usually the CEO, et cetera.
Well, I think we kind of got an idea of where we want to go, but we don't really want to replace what we've got.
Well, and that's what I
So-
knew, and even Wayne said that to me when I met him, that you're not gonna go for an engineer, you're going for more of a leader of that particular department, is that correct?
More of a,
Yes.
More or less, that's what we're
Okay.
currently.
right.
Okay. But if you decide you wanna pursue this with me, then I can, put together a timeline for you, and then also get more specific with you, kind of the parameters of how we'll get it done. But at the end of the day, it offers a lot of flexibility to you of how much you want to get involved or don't get involved.
But we need to know what we want for sure before we even
That's,
go
and that,
anywhere else.
it's funny, Bob, I won't even talk about it with you until you have a job description. I gotta know exactly what you're wanting, because, I gotta know the challenges that we are going to have in finding that person. So yes, That's a good question. Can't even move forward without that.
I particularly like the one that Andrea forwarded to us.
And that's
Oh, yeah, the one from
I read it
Miami.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
To me, that's, I don't know if you guys read it, but
60
Yeah.
seconds,
Spot
then
on.
turn the bell on.
I know. I told him I have to now go up to another, to the Nemaha County Commissioners and present up there. So it's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That, so did we cover the
Yes.
topics you wanted to cover?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to cover, and, I'll get some numbers to Andrea, and I'm gonna have to reschedule this meeting with the leaders because we're having a snowstorm on Wednesday.
No.
It's not worth coming in with the weather.
Well, but I'll get on their respective calendars soon, but I just want you to know that's the next thing, and then I gotta get a payroll memo to you too, Angie. I got work to do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Be careful.
I will.
We take just a short break.
Yes, before you do,
Yes.
I'm gonna yield to the sheriff. I think he needs
Okay.
to speak with you guys.
You got 5 minutes? Let's roll 5 minutes. Let's roll 5 minutes, then we'll come to the
My big
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna miss this
I'm
at
with
some
you.
point in time.
It was safe.
I know, it is safe.
Too big?
She missed it that time she got in her car and 10 miles away, so. A couple of things. Good morning, everybody. So, again, snow's coming. So Wednesday we'll take the effect, supposed to start Tuesday night. So Angie Knight, she's already spoken to me. We'll see what the weather's gonna be like. If there's ice, we might wanna think about what we're gonna do for the courthouse, if we're gonna have people coming in. But that's a ways away, but it's something we've talked about already.
Well, I guess I need to ask you guys if you still want me to coordinate with the engineer and the sheriff and like we always have, and the chairman or not.
That's fine with me.
That has always worked good.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
think
sheriff is
don't
out,
break-
the sheriff's people are out there, the road and bridge are out there. Carl Lee knows what's going on with the weather, and the chairman is and basically, that
So it's
has
worked that way.
worked great.
It's worked good all in the past.
It's not
I just
broke,
wanted
don't
to
fix it.
touch base with you on that. Second of all, again, I'd like to appreciate Wayne, giving kudos to my dispatch, seeing the fire. They were on the ball as they always are and caught it, so kudos to my dispatchers down there doing that. That being said, the real reason I'm here, and I've got, again, 5 minutes and I'll get out of here, so we can do something here. So I'm gonna let you know, I'm probably gonna try to hire another deputy immediately. Was gonna hope to wait until next year, 2023, to do that, but I cannot get by with 9 deputies right now. I've got people with COVID out, continue to have COVID. I thought 2 were coming back today. They're still testing positive. Friday, I have another employee, a deputy, that's got to go in for surgery and is going to be out for an extended period of time. It is wild right now. Both myself, Eric, and my 2 investigators are covering shifts because of people that are sick, their kids are sick, they're home, whatever, and I've got investigators need to be investigating cases, not working day shift, and evening shift at midnights, just like Eric and I. This weekend, same thing. I was on call this weekend. I was out all 3 days. Friday, all night Friday, Saturday and Sunday, because we're shorthanded. So, I believe it's gonna be in my budget. I'm gonna rob Peter to pay Paul to make sure it works this year. But I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna probably put it in my 2023 budget to get another one hired. So, I just wanna put it out there. We've always worked good together. I want you to know what I'm doing ahead of time if I can. But I need to get somebody hired pretty quick, real quick. So.
You got the vehicle staff for that?
I've got 2 vehicles that I was gonna trade off, and I'm gonna keep one of them. So I don't think I'm gonna have to go buy one. I'm gonna make one work. So we may have to put a little money into it to get some transmission work done. But again, I don't have another $35,000 on top of hiring somebody.
Cheaper than a new vehicle.
Well, it is, and again, it's a decent vehicle, just needs a little work. It's high miles. We thought we could get 3,000 or 4,000 out of it on trade-in, but I'm just gonna keep it. So I'm gonna keep one of them, and we'll get by with what we have. But I've gotta do something. There's no way that I can keep my investigators working when they should be investigating cases. There are cases that need to be worked that they can't because they're working shift work. There's just no way to do it.
Your heads up on bringing this type of information to us, Tom, is that's the relationship that we need.
again, I appreciate you guys have always
Really,
been, you've been good to me this past
value
year.
that value that heads up.
I appreciate that. Like I said, we've been good together this year. This is my second year, and hopefully, continue on for the next 2 or 3 and the next term if I decide to do that. But I appreciate everything you guys have done, the working relationship for the past year, and hopefully it continues. But I'll try to keep you informed every chance I can. Okay? Anything for me?
No, sir.
Going to work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We'll be in touch Tuesday night or
Since
something.
we
I'll
don't
reach
have
out to
anything,
you.
that means everything's going pretty smooth, Tom.
Yeah, that's great. We'll try to do something like that. Thanks for letting me in. See y'all later.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're gonna take a quick,
Yes.
10-minute break?
Don't have a choice.
It'll be 10 minutes by the time everybody's
Oh,
done.
we have a choice, but you might not.
Okay, thank you.
How's the new life?
Health and advisor. Maybe it's just in the winter, I think. When she does come, she's like,
Need premium material.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. How you doing?
Right.
Yeah, it'll be a big business move for us, I hope, so. I had a truck crash yesterday in South we tried to get a load of table salt, give them a load of table salt, so everybody was all right in the accident, so that's good. Just not how I want to spend my Sunday. Morning, buddy. Morning, sir. That auction went crazy, didn't it? Thank you. I can't wait for the Monday, the first. Yes. Yeah, that's, I'm gonna go to it, but I don't intend on pulling my checkbook out or anything. I had a few bids, but I ran it for a while, and I was like, no. Yeah. 380's probably what, 1.2 million on 380 acre plots. Crazy. You could plant marijuana on the stuff where it's not paid for. Yeah. That tillable ground, man, is crazy. And you can't see that. Yeah.
How you doing, ex-mayor?
All right. Good, great.
Go ahead, life now, huh?
Yeah. You must nice worry about it, especially raised for to make them shine.
Yes.
You have to be something.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
If I ever get my hands on some free property, I'm gonna show the people something.
Exactly. I need to go, head foot to that. Get myself in line.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, he did, 10 years.
He did, but he went to a couple things that had to be on the fire meeting. He said, I'm not gonna do that for what it was, but I mean, but just not the different deal. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He ran.
Well, good morning, Mr. Surratt.
Good morning, how you doing?
Oh, life is good. How about yourself?
If it was any better, I wouldn't be able to stand myself.
Well, just holding on that they might get a winter spell this week.
Yeah, we might. I'm not gonna count on it.
Well, if we do, we do.
Maybe we.
Very good, well, yeah,
I have
Bobby.
to think of Thursday,
That's
Friday
all
meeting.
what I thought last month.
I've got an economic
Good
development question
food,
for you.
gravy and this.
And that is, you know, to get an animal price,
If I ate breakfast, I'd be totally.
the gate center or
a big meal.
a half dozen items by the way. So I think there's sufficient demand to support a package of sales in the area.
But how you gonna
So
find
my
it?
wife got sick.
How you
2
can't
years
find a
ago,
butcher?
3 years ago.
There ain't butchers out there.
I've been thinking your same thing for a long time.
It's 4 years
You know,
ago.
amazing
So
to
she
me,
got sick.
Iowa,
About a
Bowling,
year or so.
they've done it,
Everything was okay,
Moran's
but
moving
after
in.
that, she was in
They've
the
got one
house.
going there,
Good.
Bowling has
So,
the one
I was having
out,
to cook and clean and tend to
after
her.
Moran.
The only
Denise,
thing
you're gonna
I
have
could
to help
do.
me out,
Make myself feel
Bronson,
comfortable.
thank you. Mound City has one.
Make everybody.
Jim Herzog with Mocan Livestock Auction, put one in across the state line north of Butler. Amazing facility.
That's where I found.
They're doing 25 cents a week.
I know, but just people I know right here in the area, you know, they take animals quite a ways, and there's
Yeah,
always
we
a
do.
long lead time for a
I don't know
reservation.
what now, I just did.
But I gained, I bet you.
Ida, pretty darn busy. I've got,
60, 70 pounds during that time period.
I do that.
So you're probably
And,
able to do that. I'm trying
I've
to stay
got
around
Gage I'm
185.
trying to get.
I'd like to get to 75, if I
Got
had,
it,
I
yeah.
just can't get there, so. But I'm pretty comfortable at 185 right
He's busy, but they've got all they can handle. Osage City just put another one in, not very long ago.
No, someday I
Talking
just need one.
slaughter.
But I had one good one
Not
today.
big meat.
Always satisfied.
Yeah, slaughterhouse. Yeah, yeah.
I know that's not the right way to do it.
We
You
need
know, I know
more.
I need to be eating breakfast, but
Local one.
if I did that, I'd have plenty of.
I'm not talking about something huge like Spanish steel, but
No.
just someplace you can take it.
Yeah.
JD.
We need one.
So he's stamped
And
his
you know,
project.
okay, well, Mount Ida busy, Osage City busy, OP.
I'm not sure he wants to say those for those parts.
Correct.
He wants to build a
Right.
living space.
Especially if they do a retail
I
part.
know they're having trouble finding places and
You
reasonable
put a
price to
retail
buy.
store up in Needle
No place to buy.
Can you
That may be
imagine?
something him.
That guy with MT Networks didn't, not MT, but Quitcom didn't take his strategical maps.
Oh,
That
I can take them.
that was maybe trade secret. Not that somebody could zoom in on the camera and see what it was.
But, Weston, there's got to be some energetic guy, and his wife is gonna be very good.
Maybe be able to get him to Brad. I'm sure he'll be back around with Brad.
Yeah, or I can shred them.
Yeah, you could shred him too. I don't think they're, I'd probably just shred him.
Yep.
I think we had a good discussion on the,
Yes. One sitting right here.
today's been long, but it's been good. Been a lot of stuff.
Have a good
Didn't really mean to shut Quitcom down, but that's kind of what it
No.
felt like we was rewriting the spec here all once or something.
Sometimes good things happen from all that.
Yeah, no,
But there's a little bit too.
I mean, I wish them luck, I really do, I just,
And just like
I
I
mean,
said.
Brad and Vanderlyn would say, you know, rebid it, we'll rebid it, I got no problem with that.
But they're disadvantaged no matter what.
Yeah.
They take the investments of 10 to 8
And
prior.
again, like, if they were here years when all that was started, I'm sure they'd been a player.
Right.
They weren't. Can't be blamed for that.
No, it's not they're doing. Almost worked through that now, so get that done behind you.
Yeah, be glad.
Three times what it is.
Yes, I could.
In the bottom 5%.
Give them till 11 o'clock and then hit it, you reckon? I don't remember what, I said 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't even know what time it was when I said 10 minutes. About 10 minutes.
You're not too bad, you're only, I mean, you're almost just a few minutes late of Bobby. I think.
Yeah.
Said that'd be a huge tax. Oh, yeah.
Well needed 10-minute break, or thereabouts.
The meeting might actually go fast today.
Don't do that.
There's plenty, there's plenty.
I hope not.
All right, Mr. Skipper,
Yes, sir.
we're to you.
We're only 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, ain't too bad.
Everything's worked out well.
I request a executive session for 30 minutes with the commission to discuss financial affairs and trade secrets of a corporation and land acquisition.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
30-minute executive session, trade secrets of corporation, land acquisition. Tim moved, Tom seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
I need Wade.
I'm not gonna ask for any action, it's just gonna be discussed again.
yeah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. We will go in at 11:02 for 20 minutes.
30.
30 minutes.
Hold on just 1 second. What time to come back?
At 11:32.
Right on the motion.
Yeah, yeah. Why is it so hard? It was like, it was so clear earlier. Hang on, I'm gonna think for a minute. Now probably doesn't help that I just stare at you while you're. That's okay. Okay. Right. So I think our time sheet would be
are you today? Your hair looks good, I like the color. You know, you were blonde. Is your blonde hair gonna grow back out? Hey, I've got the same problem, but you know, I'm going gray, all gray. Thank you, sugar, that's really sweet. He's gonna run me out to the house. Can somebody? Hello.
I'd probably like this, like, I don't know what they said back this week. I don't know either. You work on $50, it's rain, about $1 per foot.
All right, we're back.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask the commission to enter into another executive session for financial affairs, trade secrets of a corporation, and land acquisition, 15 minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, there we go. Don moved, Tim second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. We'll go in at 11:36 for 15 minutes.
Oh, you said you're on time, gonna get out early.
You what?
You said we're gonna get out early.
I thought so too.
Did you see where Canada has, got a lot of upset truckers? Yeah. They shut her down. Do what?
Almost finished Richard D, but it's so far behind. I'm over there trying to get caught up.
Okay.
It's not good.
Go ahead. Morning.
Go through that crowd.
That'll be all right.
We're looking at his hat.
Didn't know which way he's going. That concludes our agenda for the day. Roundtable.
So my only question is, do you want us to have the checks ready for next week or the 9 days? Or,
Well, I think that was kind of the general consensus.
Okay.
I don't care what time, as long as it, whatever works out.
Yeah.
That's for you all. So I wouldn't jump through hoops and hurdles to
okay.
get it out fast. I would.
Well, I mean, we can shoot for next Monday, so you guys can sign them, unless because we want the memo to go out to explain it, because at the end of February, their check will be short, because then they'll be paid from the 1st through the 15th, but they're getting the 9 days ahead of time, so on a separate check.
Is there a way maybe we could do that at that time when they're going to be short for that pay period?
We could write those checks to be dated like the day before the end of the month, and you guys could sign them and we could hold those. We could run them, before, and then just hold them until we get to the end of the month, and then.
Would those be direct deposit for people who do direct deposit, or are we talking paper check for everyone?
I would rather leave the settings the way they are. If you're on direct deposit, you get direct deposit. But I don't know, I don't want to tie the system up too of trying to get, we'll have to look into that, I think.
I mean, I would like to see it be as the helpful offset to their short pay month.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm granted it's.
So, I guess I must have misunderstood the 9 days. I thought it was.
It's not a short thing. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tony.
So it would be a short pay month? Why is that?
Okay, yeah. So they're going to be paid
Or
the 9 days.
So let me ask this question to help clarify it for me.
Sure.
So let's just say it's $1,690. Is that not on top of their 2,080 hours?
That's on
It
top of
will
their,
be, yes.
that's on top of their 28 days for February.
Yeah.
So there's no
So-
short pay in it.
Okay, their paycheck, you're going to get the 9 days,
Mhm.
and then you're going to be paid from the 1st through the 15th of February. And that'll be like a full month's pay, okay?
Okay. I'm
Then
with
in
you.
March, you're going to be paid from the 16th
Yeah.
of February to the 15th of March.
Yeah.
So those 9 days, they're getting those 9 days at the end of February, but it'll be on March's check, and that's real-time to real-time pay. The 9 days they're getting is going to cover that
Okay.
short paycheck.
All right.
Yeah, that gets it.
That's how we had to try.
That's where you get the.
No, you're right.
Okay.
It's kind of confusing, because I had to go in there again and think, okay, how is this working? But
Well,
yeah,
I don't
that's,
want anybody to think we're short.
no, it's just that last check,
You'll have somebody think that anyway.
Yeah, well, I just,
but that's to get it on track, and it's still gonna be a bonus, because the rest of February will be on the March check, and then we're on real-time pay after that.
When you retire, you will have been paid 9 extra days.
Oh, yeah. No matter what, everybody's getting those.
Everybody will have gotten.
That's the only way we could do it
Mhm.
to keep from hurting employees, to cut, to
everything.
get everything on track.
But in reality, in that month, in that 1 month check, they are going to be short.
Yeah.
That money.
Right.
And
the 9 days.
even though you're going to be paid for it in
Yeah.
a separate check.
Right. Yeah. So
This
it will
one-
look like that it's short, but in all reality,
It's
they're
not.
getting the 9 days, and then
Right.
it will be
Right.
in next
But
month.
this allow all the time sheets to be totally accurate for every pay period and solve any issue that may come up with the wage and hour.
It ought to go out at the same time as the other check then, so that way, yeah, I guess.
We may have to do,
I don't know that you can
All
do that
checked
with your
in.
payroll,
Yeah.
cause that's gonna be all on one check, more than likely, if you're wanting two separate checks.
Then whatever's easiest. for
Yeah,
your
I
own
just,
help.
I'd say, I think I'm for whatever is
okay.
the simplest for you all.
So we might have to maybe get back with you next Monday and let you know what we found out and do a check with CIC. You know, maybe we can make another code and code it as one-time, you know, pay. Well, we do have that anyway in there, that it would be on the paycheck. I'm not sure if it listed as a one-time pay.
But some of the commission wanted to make
Oh,
sure
right,
that
that
it
it's
was
separate,
seen
right,
as
right.
a separate, because it is,
Right.
um,
And maybe what we could do is we could do it the week before we do payroll, so
Right.
that we could
Right.
maybe do something like that, to where it's
Right.
closer to the end of the month.
right.
Okay.
And it can still be singled out
Yes.
as a
separate.
as a separate check.
And it would be much easier to run because you're not having to calculate sick and vacation and all
Right.
that. It would just be an amount.
Right, boom.
And then
Here
you're
it
done.
is.
Yeah.
If that, and I would say if that works, as an employee, I would much rather see something like that,
Mhm.
personally.
And then it could go direct deposit and check like normal, and then
Yeah.
we could go right into running the month-end payroll.
The payroll.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I have to agree.
Okay. That's what we'll do then.
Get the notification of well documented,
We
put
will.
together, we're
Yeah, I mean, Christina's
eliminate
gonna
as
work on
many
it.
questions.
Yeah.
And hopefully there won't be any, but
And that'll give a little more time for her to put something together too and get that out to everybody. Okay, that's all I have.
Kim?
Nothing today.
I don't have anything. Tom, nothing?
Nope.
Bob?
I would like to have an executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel for performance evaluation
Okay.
with the commission.
Bob would like to go for executive session, 10 minutes, to discuss, non-elected personnel job performance, is that correct?
Yeah, we get that.
With the commission. I'll move.
Second.
Jesse moved, Tom seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll go in at 12:02 for 10 minutes.
Do you have more?
No.
Oh,
I just figured they were going back down.
so no worries, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe so.
I was gonna tell you.
I'm just gonna go back any color. Yeah, it does look like fiber. It's got bluish tint to it. Yeah, that's the color of the more better.
Even if you put something on the marks.
Yeah.
I thought that's what she was wanting.
It's just constantly tearing her ego down. It is, you know, just keep it from you, cut you out.
I mean, did he tell you that was just a conversation?
Yeah, this morning, I went like it was.
Like he went out,
Yeah.
but he couldn't told me?
Yeah.
I mean, I was, yeah, he wants to learn, it'd be nice to know that that's the person that he is.
I think you know what's for me.
Something that would be. I don't know, like, I don't care. Okay, so we're not gonna be safe with you, and you get it, the way you might do it also. That's why I usually buy my, instead of a door, sometimes.
Yeah, well, something's going on, he's out of the office, got a personal issue.
Like, yeah, they're, so, yeah. I feel like they're like, we took that first bowl.
You definitely want to go look at it now, that's what I was.
I went down there, and I was like.
Yeah, well,
early?
Wednesday.
Yeah,
So we
that's
had Thursday. Of course, if it's coming in, you know, by Wednesday evening, highways don't even do this.
Yes, Stacy's got it in hers, I don't know what to be good. I don't know what to be good. That's all I have.
Well, that was enough.
That's good conversation.
Good.
And I don't have anything.
Don doesn't have anything. I think I got a meeting at 10:30 this Thursday with Goldberg. His daughter, maybe? Can't think of her name, but, I don't think I have anything else.
Are they wanting to do a special election?
Goldberg?
Yeah.
I have not been told anything.
Okay, you might check with them on that.
I know Osage County's.
They are, they're right now,
They're
yeah.
coming up here for next Tuesday.
He did mention it.
Okay, if that is the case, and you find out in your discussions or whatever, if we could do it before May, so we don't get into the June, because I'll be programming elections, and I would like to, if there is anything like that that comes up, if we could just do it before May, if that's possible, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'll know more Thursday, I guess.
March or April would be
So,
better,
When's the
but
primary? August?
August. But the advanced voting will start mid-July, and I'll be programming to have things ready before that, so printing and everything, so.
I was just wondering, if instead of special, I don't know when it'd be a special election be, but August be
Yeah, I don't know.
the time for that election.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was, somebody mentioned it to me last week and said I should probably talk to you about that, and I don't even know who I was talking to, but.
Tom, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I talked to Tom last week, I think it was.
Oh, I know, it was Wade.
Oh, it was Wade?
Yeah.
Okay.
It had been mentioned about a special election.
Yeah, I know previously it had, yeah, but I still didn't know if
But
it was.
we still gotta have a lot, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of town hall meetings.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of work to do.
I mean.
You're probably
I
looking
think
at
putting
August.
on August would be the best, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah, you're probably looking at August.
That's your call, so.
Yeah. Do you have anything, ma'am?
No.
Okay. We've got some special issues that we've got to go through. Just thought we was gonna get out of here, right?
Use that ugly pen.
Let me make sure I've got some more in here, guys.
I'll loan it to you if you need a hard-working pen.
I figured there was one more in there.
I hope we don't get that snow, but
I bet we get something.
I'm thinking one
As
inch,
far as it is, we'll get something.
it's all gonna go south and we're gonna end up with 1 inch.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
I hope you were right as right.
I just hate the real super cold weather. That just chills you to the bone.
And that's how it's been.
We're saying -4, what, Thursday morning?
This here's the lead one for that one.
I put in and it got approved.
Good. You just want to play hooky for that 1 inch of snow. How many head of cattle do you see?
During the winter, I'm only down to 2 are gonna be butchered. During the summer, I'll run 30. They're grass steers, bring them in the spring, wait on them, get rid of them.
Are butchers around behind still?
I'm sorry.
Butchers, are they behind still?
I've got dates.
This,
All of 2022 is full.
Just sign the front page, Jeff.
okay.
All of 2022, the dates I had, and I had to edit them. 2023, I'm gonna end up hopefully getting 12 pages for that.
Wow.
That's the thing.
Can you sign those checks?
Yes, sir.
I'll put them in the back of the.
We need
Yeah.
badly.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we had a very productive meeting today. I just followed the leader.
Covered a lot of topics.
Yeah. What'd they find out on the HVAC?
As far as what was wrong with it?
What was wrong with it last week?
Well.
So you did have something. You just
Yeah, there might end up being some more things that will have to be updated on it. As far as the computers, they did a lot of work with making some updates on the computer program from their end. And some things are just getting outdated, so they're gonna work up a quote to see maybe if some of those, since they've been there since 2009, might need to be updated. As far
So
as
is it like a software or just actual hard parts?
The software.
Software needs to be updated so it kind of pulls everything back in.
Right.
Check again.
But, anyway, Modern Air's gonna put some quotes together on that.
Do we think it's gonna be more than what, the 10,000?
It's gonna be close, that's why it's gonna see.
Okay. Well, not counting what we've already paid 18 different times for. So, all done? I guess with that, we'll adjourn at 2020, or 12:20. 2020, 12:20.
A little hard to get to 20.
Well, I did. Well, we gotta be here till, yeah, 8 o'clock.
For 8 hours.
On depth systems, on that application.